so it takes little time. Are you able to see my screen both?
Uh,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, okay. So I was talking about constructor. So then here method, right? So this is the method. Okay, in any class, one method is like So I will talk about basic terms like classes. Class is it is the blueprint. You can create multiple objects using class. Class can have properties like these properties, and then it will have methods, and it can have constructors. So method, what is class? Class I already told is a blueprint. You can build multiple objects. So what is object? Object is like one object represents state of or like or type of the class, one state of the class, like let's say here student is one of the class. Object is this student type. So this student one is one student type. So this represents one object represents. So Sam is one of the student. So one of the state of the class. So and method, what it does, it is one kind of action on the on any property, one kind of action on any property. So what this method does, it will retrieve or fetch student number data. So it does like get action here. So method, what it does, it will perform some actions, get, set, all these it does. So that's about method. And constructor used to construct the objects. So these are basic terminology in Java. And now constructor, right? So if you take the constructor, difference between method and construct, difference between method and constructor. So method name should not be equal to class. Basically, if you look at any method, it's not equal to class. And constructor, if we take any constructor, it should be equal to class name. So that is the basic rule. That's what this document says. There are basically two rules to define the constructor. These two rules we have to follow. Constructor name must be same as class name. Constructor must have no explicit return type. This we will talk like later. Okay, so these two are not compulsory rules, but these two are
What do you mean? I'm sorry,
yeah.
interrupting. Go ahead. I will ask you.
Okay, so now there are two types of constructors, right? Like, let me talk about this, then I'll answer your questions, all the questions. So there are two types of constructors basically: default constructor or no argument constructor. So the argument, again I will talk argument. So what is the argument? So let's take one setter. I'll define one more method. So which is set student number. Okay, so as I told, right? So any method is represents one action. So now here, right, set, if we have set student number, and if you accept any argument or parameter. So I think the same in JavaScript we also have arguments, parameters. So let's put student number, student new number. If we have student new number, and then so this start to number is called, so numbers, this kind of we are setting the date. This kind of so here what we are doing, when we pass any student new number, we set the student number to the current whatever the number we have the property. So and this method, what is it, is setting the data. As I told, method, every method should have some should perform an action. So here it is setting the data. Here it gets the student number. So what is the argument or parameter? Here it's called this, whatever we pass inside the methods, right? Inside the method definition is called parameter or argument. Both are same pretty much, parameter argument. So now the constructors are two types. Non-parameterized constructor, that means which doesn't have any argument, that's called default constructor. And there's one more type of constructor we can define. Let's take one more parameterized constructor. So while constructing the object itself, like here in this example, right, whatever I have given earlier, What we are doing here, we are first using the default constructor with non-parameter constructor and get the object. Then we set the values using this. But while constructing the argument, sorry, while constructing the object itself, we can actually pass these values. That I'll show you how to do with parameterized constructor. Let's take this example like an int student number, comma string student name, comma float float grade. Okay. Now if we have this constructor with parameters, there are three parameters for all the properties, and what we can do, so we'll set this all the whatever the values we have, student number called student. And now I have one constructor with parameters. So I'll show you what is the advantage of this parameters constructor. Now here what can I do? I can create the objects in different way. So what I am doing, like I comment this code. So I can build this student object with parameters constructor by passing these values directly. So I will show you like how easy it is with parameters constructor to build the objects. So now what can I do? I can pass the values through constructor using parameters like directly without like writing additional lines. 7.9. So now if you look at this statement or this line, what it does, it will do these all three lines. What it does, it will do the same thing. Okay. So now what it does is when we are making this, when we are executing the statement, what it does, it will call parameters constructor. That means this one it will call. So it will pass all the values like 001 as a student number, and it will pass student name here, and here third parameter like grade it will pass, and it will construct like here what is the definition I have given. I'm telling like whatever the values are passed into this constructor, set to this current object, whatever the properties you have set here. So that way, so we can actually use the parameters constructor while creating object. So there are two ways. So this one, right here, still the student 2 is using default constructor. So there are like two constructors currently we have in Java. So and one more question you may get, so we didn't initially, when I write this class, right, I didn't even have any of this constructor. Okay, I didn't write anything, but still it actually I was able to create this student one, student two, right? How it was possible? So compiler, so Java compiler, what it does for any class, if you write any class, it will inject the default constructor automatically. So it will instruct default constructor. If you just write any class, you don't need to put this one. So default constructor would be available automatically. So that is the reason when I create first time objects, right, all this, it was allowed without even explicitly define the constructor. So that is about constructor. Now let me just go through the theory. Any questions here, now, Salem, any questions?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
In fact, that's a bit like I know the construction here. The construction you define like this is student number, equal to student number, and
Hmm.
student name the same.
Hmm.
So when I wanted to know the student number, student ID, student name, student number, and student grade.
Hmm.
So do I go like after I define the construction, or just like I go get how, or just like student, or this line
Yes.
31?
So usually, right, in real time, we use this format, so
Yeah,
just for
like
you to understand, right, I initially came with easy approach. So usually we follow this one, with parameters constructor, because This is very simple way. I don't need to again write three more statements right here, three more lines I don't need to write and set explicitly. So this is in real time we use this parameterized constructor. Okay, we don't use this default constructor as well. Okay,
So you don't have to, this was the 14 one is like a default constructor.
this is the default 11 to 13 one default, which Java automatically use it. Suppose if I,
Okay,
yeah, this is the default one 11 to 13, and this is like we have to
that's the
define.
default one.
The above
Okay,
one is default one. This
okay.
is
How
parameters
about the,
construct.
okay, that's a parameter construction. How about the 21? Public get
This is
student
these are the methods. These are not constructors. Methods. These are
methods. Like
yeah.
what do you, so what do you want to, exactly, what do we want
Okay.
to have?
What do we want to do with the
Because
methods?
in
Okay.
JavaScript, when you say get, you want
Okay.
to get the number, get something. What do you want to get to
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah. So here, right? Instead of getting the number directly, I can use that method. So this will give me the student name, student number. Okay, I can use this on the object. I can basically invoke these methods. Okay, I can invoke these methods on the object to get the number. So these methods you will understand completely getter setters when I talk about access modifiers. Okay, but as of now, you just think method is for one action, like in one for performing any action on the properties. Just think access modifiers. Next class, I'm going to talk like more, and then you will understand completely about methods. Okay, so this is a method, not constructor. Constructor, the basic rule is constructor name should be the same as class name, and constructor will not have any return type. Here there is no return type, but the methods will have return type. So this get method has int return type, set
When you
method
say
has,
construct a method is like the same as class name, you mean like when I start the constructor, I have to start with like a class name? Is it a class name? A class name.
yes, should be. I can't. If I put like this is not the method. This is not
Oh,
constructor. It will not allow.
so oh, it couldn't be alone. Okay, so it has to take like any inheritance from the class before you define,
No,
right?
don't talk about inheritance and all asylum now. It's too early. Okay, we are going to talk on those topics inheritance and all soon.
All right, okay. I'm okay. I'm not using that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna just bring, okay. This is like basically the constructor parameter method, student in it, student numbers and everything. So
Yeah.
it has to be starting first the blueprint from number 6, right?
Yes.
It shouldn't be like alone.
Yes. It shouldn't be alone. Correct.
Okay, you have the blueprint. Based on the blueprint class, you making the constructor parameter.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I
Yeah.
just make sure that's,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Yo, do you understand this constructor concept?
A little bit.
Okay. So this is used for constructor used for building the object. So this is like here we are creating object. Constructor is used to using the class, right? So this class is there, student class is there. So using the class we can actually construct the object with the values whatever provided. So this is constructing the object. Here we are constructing student 1 object, student 2, student 3. So this for constructing any object, this constructor is useful. So you can think in that way. So otherwise without constructor it's not possible to create an object, any object. Okay.
Okay, so student is constructor for those all students.
Yes. Yes. Student is the
Okay.
constructor for all the students. This is a constructor. This is a constructor. There are two constructors I created here. Okay.
Okay, the top one is the main constructor, and
Top one is the default constructor. Okay, let me talk about this document first. Okay, then you'll have
Mhm.
some idea. Okay, now there are like, so what is constructor? You are clear, right? Constructor is a special type of method. It's a kind of method, but it's not exactly method, and used to initialize the object. So constructor is used to initialize the object or create the object. constructor is invoked at the time of object creation. It is what point of time it is invoked? When we are trying to create object, right? When we're trying to create object, at that time only this will be invoked. So the rules I told, it should be same name as constructor name, should be same as class name. Constructor must have like no explicit return type. And there are two types of constructors. One is default constructor or no argument constructor. Second one is parameterized constructor. Default constructor, what it is? A constructor that have no parameters is known as default constructor. So that means here the constructor which doesn't have any parameter, and it doesn't accept any parameter, and it does like inside it will be empty only. So that is called default constructor. So default constructor, what it does, it will just provide the default values to the object. So what it does, what it will do, default constructor. So let's do one thing. Let's do one,
We'll
like,
take
can I?
that what we have already, just like
Yes.
constructing, right?
Let me do one thing. Let me print. Okay. So I don't put any values here. I'll just see, like, what the default constructor will does. Let's create a new object with the default constructor.
Okay.
Student 5. Okay. So I don't set any values here. I don't set any values. Let's see what the student 5 values it will have. Values means student number, student name, grade, what values it will have, the default constructor. Let's print here. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll come to know. Okay, I didn't put any values. We'll see what this default constructor will set the values. So if you look at it, right, if you observe this, student name from default construct is null, 0, student number, grade is 0, 0.0. I'll tell you what those means. Like, it will give us default values. So default values for all these, like, for all these properties. So int default value is 0 for any data type, like string default value is null, float default value is grade. Default value means if you don't set anything. So the default constructor, what it does, it will inject the default values for all this, like, properties. So that is job of default constructor. So default constructor provide default values to the object, like 0, null, and syntax for default constructor: class name, this open and close parentheses, open and close brackets, and then open and close parentheses. So if there is no constructor in class, compiler automatically creates default constructor, as I told. Suppose if you don't have anything, it will inject automatically default constructor. So if we create an object with the default constructor, it will error out because JVM. So now let's say, like, I have a, okay, this topic, I think I'll talk later after everything is done. So parameters constructor. So constructor that have parameters is known as parameters constructor. Let's take example employee. Same as like student, employee can have employee name, employee number, and salary, right? Employee name, employee number, salary, and this has main method. And parameters constructor, what it does, so employee class we have, and we can accept like all the employee properties whatever, and set all those values. And we can basically, like, create one of employee object, and with the all properties and print them, like using this. That's about parameters constructor. So so any question still, are you not getting it? What is the constructor, or do you get some idea what constructor does?
I think I got it.
Okay. Yeah, Salem, any questions?
No, I think I'm fine. I just have to see how that.
Okay.
I'm thinking now. My head is like thinking about.
Yeah,
Let's
you
say,
can practice this. Like I will share the like in documents right after this. This you can practice a little bit program, so you'll understand if you have any questions. This is important to
yeah.
understand the concept of constructor. You'll practice this exercise whatever I put in the document. Okay,
Okay.
so you'll get some idea.
Okay. Do you have some questions also? You can give us practice question.
Questions
Yeah,
and answers.
like a like example, like now you're doing something. Now what you did is like student name, student place, and you did now the list of the student, the workers like salary and things like that. Something to practice.
Yeah, these programs you can practice. That is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So you can practice this whatever I put in the like the same thing. You can practice. Create this
Okay.
class, employee class with the properties. Okay,
Okay.
and the main class main method you can create. Run the program. Okay, with this example, observe
Okay.
the behavior and see like what it display, and then create one more class with the parameters constructor. Then observe
Mm-hmm.
like these two programs, if you're able to understand completely and go through my video whatever I'm sharing, right, the videos.
Yeah.
So and then understand, like come up with the questions next class. That will be easy, like you have 5 days time,
Yeah.
right? Go through them like in
Definitely.
any particular day when you're free. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
what I expect you to learn, and so you can ask multiple more questions like next class.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
I know you are actually in basic level. It takes some time to understand, but try to be like grasp as much as possible, like so that you'll be familiar for bigger applications and programs.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So that is about constructor. Let's move on to next topic, which is static. Let me open the syllabus.
So mostly used the default or the
Mostly we don't use default actually, right? So we use parameters
because
real
already
time.
exists the parameter
Yeah,
one,
parameters like yeah,
especially in a job set, right?
yeah. In
Because the,
in, in
like
real time we use this parameters constructor only mostly. Yeah,
default that we know that it exists over there, even
yeah,
though we know it.
yeah. Yes.
Mm.
So what is Java course Java syllabus? So after constructor, right? So we'll talk about static now. So I'll talk briefly about static. Okay, so then I'll continue next class. So static, right? It is one type of variable. If you remember my earlier class, like there are three types of variables, right? Local variable, class variable, and static variable. So local
Static one.
variable, what it does, the variable which is defined inside the method is called local variable. The
Okay.
variable which is inside, which is defined inside the class and outside of the method is called class variable. So
Class
now in my earlier example, let me show you what are. So these are all like variables, right? Student number, name, and these variables are defined inside the class and outside of any method. So this is one method and this is another method. These are all like the variables are defined inside the class. These are all class variables. What is local variable? If you look at this variable,
inside
right,
the method.
inside the method, now this is called like local variable inside the method. And this one is also like student is object. This is anyway object. If you have any variable inside the method is called local variable. And the third type is static variable. Now static variable, it's one special type of variable, and it is basically is related to class only again. So the example, like let's talk about example first. So if we have a student class, and let's assume that there are 1,000 students in a class. Okay, if you have 1,000 students, for all students, the college name, let's declare, like I'll tell you one example. Let's take student college name. uh, what is the college name? It would be string only, right? I'll define with the string. Okay, so I'll define with the string. So now, for providing this college name, I have to, like, put in constructor, right? The same thing. So I'll add this constructor also. So college string name. Okay, college name. If we have this,
So you're adding another parameter, not
yes,
regular parameter. Okay.
yes, I'm adding another one, and this is I'm trying to explain you what is the advantage of static variable now. Okay, so this
Okay.
one kind of example I'm trying to explain you. So if we have college name in all objects, there is a problem. Like I'll tell you. Like, so now let's take, like, college name. Usually in real time. So now the moment when I put a new variable, it started giving me error because it expects one more parameter, which is college name. Okay. So now in real time, right? Okay. So in real time, what it does? So for all students, there will be same college name. Do you agree with me? If you define, like,
Mhm.
if you define
Yeah.
1,000 students, college name would be same. Okay, now what I
Yeah.
have to do here, like, so I have to put college name. Let's put, like, any Virginia Tech or
String.
something. Yeah, any college name. Okay, if you put any school name, Virginia Tech, or like, any so any college name if you put, right? So, and for every student also, let me use parameters constructor everywhere so that it would be easily understand.
So each student will be the different college name at the end, right? It doesn't have to be the same college name.
Usually,
It's not.
when you define, right, it will be have the same college name. Let me tell you the example. Okay, example. So then we'll talk on that. After that, you can ask questions. Okay. So now, right, 001. So let me define with constructor and all this. So I am defining now Paul with the default constructor. So Paul. So now assume that all students have the same college name. Okay, Virginia Tech, same college. They're under same college only. I assume that. So
It can
now
also happen different.
it can have different, but my requirement is, like, same college. Okay, they are all same college. I'm defining the objects in that scenario. Okay.
Mhm.
So now student 4 here, 004, 001. Okay. Now, so now here in this example, so the example what I've taken, so I have requirement that under, like, one college. So for all the students, like, same college name. Well, I need to, like, I need to put the same college name. Here, if you observe, right, I am repeating same college name for each and every object. So this kind of what it does, right? It will allocate some memory here. Okay, it will end in 10 minutes. I'll try to complete like this very high level. Then I'll talk in detail next class. So what it does, right? It will allocate memory. So if you look at, right, these all other variables are different. So student
Yeah.
number for student one is 001. Sam is different. Okay. So for each, for all the four objects, these all three variables are different, but this one is the same. So it will allocate, right, for each object the same college name it will allocate. So if you observe assume that, like, for each variable it allocates 2 bytes, okay, in memory. So here 2 bytes, 2 bytes, 2 bytes, 8 bytes it will allocate. Okay, and here also 8 bytes, and here also 8 multiple 32 bytes. But this Virginia Tech is same, right, for all the students. I can avoid this allocating some memory by providing some common variable for all these students, for all these objects. How can we do that? We can add static here. Okay, we can add static, simply add static. That means this is the static, means this is the common variable or common property for all the objects of student. That means for
So
all
it
the
doesn't have to
students.
repeat all the time.
Repeat,
The
correct,
same thing.
doesn't. What can I do here? I just put like, the college name here, Virginia Tech. Okay, and Virginia Tech. I can remove this. Okay, I define the property at class level, the static, and I can remove this. So I'll remove even from constructor. So that means for memory, for saving memory, right? Like, we can use this static
That's why
and
Java told us like saving memories.
memory. Yeah, yes.
I
Static
see.
is for saving memory for all the objects. Now what can I do? I will just put at static level, class level, that variable, and define that college at this one. So now the static, actually I defined the college name Virginia Tech. So now this college name is same for all the objects. Now how can I get the college name from student 1, student 2? So I don't need to use the student object. Directly I can go and get college name from student itself, like, from student class itself. Let's take, like, if you want to print here, like, here the college. So what can I do? I can directly
Still,
I can use class name only. I don't need to use the now object. So if you look at, right, for printing all the data above, right, for printing student number, student name, and all, I used I used what, like, objects only here. So now what can I do? So I'll just use the student is the class name I can use,
last name.
class name, because that is class level variable, right? So that's why
Mhm.
student, student dot. If you look at student dot, there is a college name available. Apart from the college name, there is no other variable, because college name is the static variable, class level variable. So now I'll print using directly class name. I don't need to use the object name. If you observe, like, all these properties, to access all these three properties, non-static properties, so we used object only so far when we are printing some data, right? So I need student
Mhm.
name, the object only we used. We don't use class so far. So here also student name, student number, all this, like, so we use the object. So only for static variable we can use class name. So because that is at class level variable, now I can get the even college name also from the student, like, using that. So if you look at, so all the students at same class, sorry, same college. So that is why static variable introduced, for saving the memory. If you have any common variable or common data for all the objects, so your genetic is like, is the common college name for all the objects of this class. That is the reason static I defined. Suppose if I just remove static, like, it will throw the error where here, like, when you're trying to access, right? Because college name now I removed as static and it become non-static. I can't access static, I mean non-static variables from the class. So I had to use the object. Okay. So
In the blueprint, if you don't put like the statics part,
hmm.
as be so, and then it doesn't save memory, right? It's gonna
Yeah,
have
it doesn't say.
and
So
every time like the age and the name and everything.
yes, yes, yes.
I see.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the high level. I'll talk in detail like statics. You got it, right? What is the concept of static here?
Mhm.
Do you get it? The point?
Yeah, yeah.
You got it, right? Like, it's for common variable, common data for all the objects, basically. So now let's look at that.
So you can be age, you can be, if I put, for example, the same 18 years old student, all
Hmm.
of them 18, I can put like
Yes,
static age.
yes.
So
Yeah,
all of them print out
yeah,
18, right?
yeah. I can print like that. I got it. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So static.
Mm.
Let's say age, int age equal. If you know all the students' age is 18, then I can put 18 here. I define there itself,
Mm-hmm.
like this. I define
Yeah,
there. So it will print.
I see.
It will allocate 18 for all the students of this class. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the
Mm-hmm.
whatever the class student we have, For all the objects, it will allocate 18. So let's look at the definition quickly. So static can be variable method. Static variable used to refer common property of all objects that is not unique for each object. Example, company name of, they give an example of company name of employees. Usually employees, all employees company name is same, or college name of students. So that's what, like student name, college, and all, like IITs. So some examples I given. This also I'll share to you. You can go through the static. Then I'll talk in detail. I'll like write some more examples. Okay, that's about constructor and static. Practice some like exercises by next week and come up with questions. Okay, I will send after this class now these videos and two documents, static and constructor document.
Mm.
After we mentioned the static value, after we mention the static value, we have to call right from the bottom
Yeah,
here.
here the class name only you can use directly. No need to use the object name because it is a class level variable, right? It is class level only we define. It is because it is common for all the
Okay,
objects.
yeah. Just the student, right?
Yes, just student. It is common, so that is why I didn't put any student here, right? Student
Yeah,
means
yeah.
like it is object here, one of the object. Here also, if I want to get like here also I can just put like an std dot. I don't need to use std. I can use student dot class. Same as.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So because it's an object or it's not a class?
Yeah, it
What?
is. It is class, right? It is class level variable. It is common for all the objects. Here, how many objects I created? Student one, student two, student three, student four, student five, and for all these, right, the same college name. That is the reason I defined
Yeah.
it class level or static variable. So
Mm.
this is common. It will not allocate now, right? Earlier, like I put, it will not allocate separate a memory for each object. It will allocate only one time the memory, very first time when a class is defined, and that only the same one is used for all the objects. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'll talk again more with more example next class. This meeting is ending in 1 minute 30 seconds. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
yeah, I will send you the videos, and I request you to practice, like more, go through the, like, don't just ignore it. Okay,
Okay, yeah,
go through
yes,
weekdays,
So
like yeah.
so
yeah,
you
we have
told me tomorrow. So you know the summary you sent to me. I'm sorry about like.
The project, right?
Yeah, yeah, I have been like where I work and everything. So
Okay.
say so they said in a place you say that since 2019, but if they ask before that, where to? It doesn't say. It doesn't give me any for 2019.
Okay. Okay. Can I'll talk to you, Salem. This meeting is ending soon. Okay. I'll talk to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. Catch up later. Okay. Sure.
okay.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
good
Yeah.
night.